Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cherno. Welcome back to my game engine series. So last time we took a look at Glad. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out up there. Glad was just a way for us to load kind of the modern OpenGL functions that we need in order to use modern OpenGL as part of our rendering, which is going to be very important. Now today, it's finally time to get ImGui into our engine. So this is the first major thing that we'll actually see on the screen, which is really cool. It's going to be the first kind of thing that we render, I guess, and also the basis for a lot of our future development, because this is going to be absolutely vital for us to be able to debug things properly and just display information on the screen and even UIs and just all of that stuff. So I'm really excited about getting this in. This is going to feel a lot more like an engine as soon as we kind of get this in there. And also we're going to see a lot of really critical things that we need to maybe do in the future to make this implementation more proper. Because today what we're going to do is something called a hack. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with how kind of software development works, I mean, I'm sure you are to some extent, I might even link an article below about kind of a few different ways of, I guess, how you can write software. Particularly, there's one way of writing software, which is the first thing is kind of make it work. The second one is kind of make it like correct, right? Make it right. And then the last step is kind of just to make it fast. Okay, so we're going to be kind of just making it work. We're just going to hack everything in because I want to see ImGui on the screen. That's our goal by the end of today. It's pretty simple. We're going to, by any means to get there, we're just going to hack it in and we're going to make it work. We're not going to obviously make it horrible, but we're going to make it kind of usable. Okay, now the making it right step is kind of abstracting everything properly so that instead of using raw OpenGL function calls, which is what we're going to do today, the entire ImGui renderer goes through Hazel's renderer, which means that it tells Hazel, hey, I want to render a triangle. Hey, I want to render text. I want to render this. I want to render that. Right? Instead of actually relying on OpenGL. That's going to be way later because we don't have a renderer yet. Right? We need to have a renderer first and then we can do that. But I want ImGui in before we have a renderer so that we actually can debug our renderer as we write it and do all of that good stuff. It's going to be a lot easier to do that this way. And the last step, make it fast. I mean, no, it should just be fast anyway. But the point is, that's kind of where we're at right now. This is going to be a hack. But we're going to get ImGui into Hazel by the end of this video, so I'm pretty excited. Let's pop over and start making this happen. Okay, so the first thing is, I have forked ImGui quite a while ago, and I made a pre-make file for it. So this is the same kind of thing as with GLFW. You can see there is my pre-make file. It is pretty simple. As always, because pre-make is great, there's a few problems with indentation as usual because of tabs and spaces, whatever. But I really need to fix that. I think the GLFW thing has the same issue as well. And also I think, oh no, this does have system version latest, good. Unlike GLFW. Anyway, we have this. We're going to add this as a submodule to our Git repository. So over here inside cdev Hazel, which is where Hazel is for me, I'm just going to do git submodule add. Now, I actually don't remember the syntax. I think it's the repository and then the path. So that's the thing. And then the path into which we'll put this is hazel/vendor/ImGui, just like that. I don't know if I should, we won't do any capitalization. Let's just do that. Okay, and then once that is done, we should be able to go into Hazel and open our pre-make file, and I'm just going to add ImGui into that. So just like we have with all of our other include directories, I'm going to make one for ImGui, which will be Hazel vendor ImGui, and we actually should probably look at this. Yeah, that's probably all we need, to be honest. And then we can just do imgui.h and that'll include that because this is not inside an include directory at all. So that's fine. I'm going to grab this and chuck it on the end of include directories. ImGui, and then also we need to link it. And of course I've got, if we actually look at the ImGui pre-make file, you can see that of course, we've got it as a static library like everything else. Okay, fantastic. So now if we go back, we should just be able to, generate our projects. Done, reload the solution. And of course, we don't actually have ImGui in here because I forgot one of the most important parts, which is to actually include it like this. So now generate our projects again. There we go, everything is done. We now have ImGui over here. Let's try and build it. Okay, so of course that succeeded, and Hazel should reference it as it does. Okay, fantastic, everything is done. So now the biggest thing we need to do is set up the ImGui layer. Now, to do that, we're actually gonna have to make a new file. So let's come into Sandbox, oh sorry, not Sandbox, into Hazel. And then what we've got is, at the moment we've kind of got everything inside Hazel. That's cool, but what I wanna do is if I show all files here, inside Hazel, I've been tossing out whether or not to do this, whether or not we want to actually put this into a folder called debug. I think in the Hazel development branch, I did actually put it into a folder called debug, because ImGui is kind of, I guess, like a debug thing. For now, though, I am actually going to just make a folder called ImGui for it, and then make a header file and a CVP file, I guess, called ImGui layer. Now, the thing is, I don't really think that it is something that's just going to be used for debug. For example, I mean, since Hazel is quite a, it's really like an application framework, I don't even know if we will end up kind of creating our own UI library, because that's a lot of work, and if we've got ImGui, you know, like why would we kind of waste all of that time kind of trying to do that? So that's kind of my line of thinking, because again, if we were making, like, if this was like a professional kind of game engine, I guess, and we probably would want our own UI thing, but because like I feel like maybe for now at least, unless someone really wants it, you can probably just configure ImGui pretty well to do pretty much anything you want, because it's quite a nice, it really is quite a nice little UI library. Okay, so ImGui layer, pretty simple. We're gonna have a constructor and a destructor, and then we're gonna probably override a bunch of stuff that we have inside layer. So the cool thing about this is that we already have, we really probably need only these two. We already have an event system, which is really useful because of course ImGui is going to use a lot of events. So that's part of the reason why I just love doing this. Let's include our PCH and include ImGui layer, namespace Hazel, and we're going to just create method implementations from everything. Okay, cool. So scrolling up, I'm going to just call the base constructor here with a name. So the name that we'll use is ImGui layer. So this is more or less going to be the kind of ImGui layer that comes with Hazel. So you can obviously just start rendering ImGui probably on any layer. I don't know how we'll set that up, but this is like a specific layer where we're going to render kind of debug things. This is like our debug draw layer. This will always be drawn kind of last, or rather on top of our 3D scene and all of that. So yes, it's going to be a specific layer in which we probably will end up calling ImGui kind of code, or at least being able to draw any ImGui kind of windows on this. So we might even end up adding like an on ImGui draw or whatever to like other layers. I don't know how we're going to set that up. We can talk about that later. Okay, so what I actually do want to do is set an initialization code, but I think it's going to probably rely on OpenGL. So what I'm going to do, well, there's a few things that I'm going to do, but the first thing I want to do is actually probably end up taking on attach and on detach, because I know that obviously when a layer is attached, it definitely should already have the renderer set up. So on attach, on detach, we'll create method implementations for those as well. Did it end up creating one more? Yeah, it did. I'm not sure why I did that. Okay, so inside on attach and on detach, we need to do a few really important things. So to know what we actually need to do, what I'm going to do is go into Hazel, vendor, ImGui, and then we're going to look at some of the examples. So there's two examples that I want to focus on. One is kind of the OpenGL 3 implementation, which is this. So we'll grab that, and we'll keep that around. And then the other thing is the GLW one, so this one. Okay, so that's kind of going to be the basis for what we're actually going to do today. Now, this OpenGL 3 thing, which does all of this GL stuff, we're basically going to copy this completely. Okay, so I'm going to put it into platform. Inside platform, I'm going to make a new a new folder called OpenGL. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to end up copying and pasting these files just directly. I'm probably not even going to rename them, just so that we really do reinforce the fact that they are temporary. And we're going to put them in here and include them in our project. Now, we probably will have to change a few things, but we'll kind of see how we go. So this is like our direct implementation. So imGui.h, I mean, I think that actually should be fine. I'm not sure why that's not. Okay, so this stuff, look, I mean, I'm just going to strip this out because this is our own file. We'll rename this just so that there's no kind of confusion. So ImGui OpenGL renderer is what we'll call this, and that as well. And we will see what we do here. So clearly define ImGui loaded. That's weird. We'll include imGui.h in here. I'm not sure why I don't like that it's not happy with this. Anyway, and then we also have to, before we include anything else, we also need to include our PCH. We'll probably have to regenerate projects as well in a minute. And this actually should be fine. I think that might just be Visual Studio. No, it really can't include it. Huh, well that's weird because it should be an include directory. And it is inside Hazel. So that's a little bit weird. Let's just quickly check what the include directories actually are. Vendor ImGui include. Oh, well, that's wrong because it's just vendor ImGui. So if we go back to Hazel and grab that pre-make file, we're just going to make sure that this does not say that. And then we'll generate our projects again. Okay, done. Reload. Okay, cool. So now that we've done that, let's try and build our renderer again, and we'll see what we get. All right, a few errors here. Okay, this I can't include obviously because we've changed this to be ImGui OpenGL renderer. And then it's not happy with a bunch of other things because of course we're not including glad, so we'll include glad. Okay, succeeded, fantastic. So that's done. Now, back in ImGui Layerland, we're going to be able to, on attach, do a bunch of things that we need. So I'm going to include two things into here. I'm going to include the OpenGL renderer, which is actually in Hazel platform. And I think that actually includes ImGui itself as well, but I probably should just include imGui.h as well. Okay, so it's not happy with this. That's a bit weird. Oh, it's not in Hazel, it's just in platform. Whoops. Platform, OpenGL. Okay, great. So on attach, there's a few ImGui things we have to do, such as, create the context. Now this stuff should be written, by the way, in here. They're all gone, that's great. I don't know why they disappeared. I was just clicking on them and it was closing the tab, so that's great. But if we go into examples again and we look at GLFW, so we have all these callbacks that we probably care about, as well as all the initialization code, such as create context, which I don't even know where that is. I guess that's probably in, yeah, so the other thing that ImGui does is a bunch of this stuff is actually probably in like example GLFW OpenGL3 inside this main file. Yeah, so you can see it does create context and all of this stuff. Now I already know what I'm doing because I've implemented this before. But just so you know, that's kind of what I'm referencing. So there's the main file that's inside the example that you're using. There's the two example files, which is like example GLFW, H and CPP. And there's also the renderer, the OpenGL kind of implementation example as well, so OpenGL3. So that's kind of the idea. And based on that, we're just going to write all this stuff. So we're going to create the context. We're going to use dark colors here. And then what we need to do is set some flags. So I'll say ImGui IO equals ImGui get IO. We're gonna set some backend flags. this is just like pretty standard ImGui setup code. So it has mouse cursors, yes. We have to add a bunch of mouse cursors as well eventually, probably not today because it's like the hack implementation, and has set mouse position. Okay, and then what we actually need to do if we want keys to work is set up a key map. Now, I think that this is something that is inside here, so that I don't have to write everything out. Where is it? Oh no, that's the OpenGL implementation. I'm looking for the GLW one. Okay, there's that key map. We're just gonna steal this. Now this is extremely temporary, and I'm actually gonna add temporary should eventually use Hazel key codes, and we might actually take a look at Hazel key code stuff in the next video, because that's important and needs to be done, as well as like an input kind of polling system as well. Because right now we have an event system, but if I want to actually ask the input, hey, is this key down? We can't do that right now. So we need to be able to do that. Okay, so GLW3, of course, this is also temporary. We should not be including GLW3 here, but as I said, this is a hack video. This stuff, clipboard text, I think we won't worry about for now. And then the other thing we need to do is actually, once we've done that, is initialize this OpenGL thing, which init for OpenGL. I think there's a different one though. Yeah, OpenGL 3 init. I think that's what we want. And then the version that we want and that we'll use for now is probably going to be 410. All right, cool. So hopefully that actually ends up initializing with the correct GLSL version, which is what we want. And I'm pretty sure that should be it. So as far as updating goes and what we want to actually do every frame, the important one is, of course, ImGui render, as well as, I think, renderer. So new frame and also render draw data. So we need to do new frame. And I think we do that first, followed by ImGui new frame. Then we do render, and then we need to do the render draw data. And then from there, we'll actually get the draw data from ImGui. Okay, cool. That's it. What we will do is, I'll just quickly write this, static bool true. This will just whether or not to show this demo window, which we're about to show. Demo window. So we'll show a demo window, which will be kind of just it's an ImGui demo window that has everything we might want. Now we need to set the delta time as well. So we can get that from GLW. I think that returns a double. Get time. Yes, it does return a double. And then we'll set IO delta time. So ImGui IO. What is this? ImGui IO equals ImGui get IO. And then this will be IO delta time equals, we'll have to keep track of our time. So we'll say m time minus m time. Otherwise we'll do 1 by 60. So just in case our time is not set yet. And then we'll do float m time equals 0. So the first frame it will just do, it'll just do 1 over 60. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's just a very basic implementation anyway. As I said, we'll probably rewrite this. We'll set time to time. Okay, great. So that should be everything that we need. Oh, we also need to set the display size. Now, application, I think, doesn't have a window. And what we need is, window, I think, has a get width, get height. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll return this window here. So what we'll do is just an inline window reference, get window, which will return window, just like that. And then over here, we will, because the primary thing that we want to set is something called display size, which just tells ImGui how big our display is. So to make that happen, we'll need to get our application. Oh, we don't have that at the moment. I thought we did. Okay, so application is not a singleton at the moment. That's kind of an issue. So what we want to do is basically have application. I'll add s instance here. This should be private. This should be something that we have because application, there's only going to be one application. And wherever we are, let me just type this out. Wherever we are in our code base, we'll probably want to access the application because it has important information. So what this will basically do is hold a singleton to our application, which gets set when we construct our application, and we should only have one anyway. So we could even assert to make sure that that we only have one application. So we'll just say instance needs to be null. Application already exists. And we'll set s instance to this, so that then wherever we are in our code base, such as here, we can just say application get, and that will kind of give us our application. So let's include Hazel / application. And application get needs to be static. Okay, cool. So now that we have this, we can into here just put app.getWindow.getWidth and app.getWindow.getHeight. All right, cool. So there we go. I think that's about it. So we have to do events as well, of course, but I think that should be pretty much all that we need to actually get this running. So I'm interested to see if this will work because, of course, this was a lot of just hacking stuff in. So if we go into our sandbox app, at the moment we only have our example layer being pushed in, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to into hazel.h. I'm just going to add in Hazel ImGui layer. And then in our sandbox app, I'm going to push an overlay, which is going to be our ImGui layer. Okay, so that is for some reason not there. ImGui layer, that should be legit. Oh, well, yeah, it has to be inside Hazel. I thought we were inside the namespace. Okay, cool. So now I'm kind of scared, but let's hit F5 and see what happens. I'm just going to put a breakpoint maybe here because I want to check out certain things to see if they were set correctly. Okay, so it's not happy with a certain... We got a linking error because we're missing ImGui. I'll just show you guys. Because we're missing... it seems we're missing the constructor that has no parameters. That's a bit weird because is that not it? ImGui layer. We're missing this, apparently. How on earth are we missing that? Oh, well, I mean, we actually forgot to export it. So, what is it? Hazel API. So that's kind of important. Let's not forget that. Okay, so we have a debug error. A board has been called. These are the best ones. So ImGui's not happy. If I hit retry, I can see. ImGui's not happy because we didn't call create context or anything like that. I actually think that maybe that's because, yeah, when we attach layers, they're not actually, called. So layer on attach is what should happen here and in push overlay. So yes, let's try that again. Okay, it's not happy again. This time invalid display size value. Okay, cool. So I have a feeling, let's just look at the call stack quickly to see where this is coming from. On update, get IO. Oh, okay. Oh, right, okay. I think that maybe we should have done that before. So before we begin the frame, we actually need to set a size. So we'll do that like that. And actually, we'll even do the timing first. So we'll need to move this down. Okay, so there we go. display size has been set 1280 by 720. That's great. Delta time is 16 milliseconds. Let's see what we get. Oh, okay. Look at that. Fantastic. So we have ImGui here. We can't move anything. We can't interact with anything because we have no events. But how cool is this? We have ImGui rendering inside our window. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so the next step would be to set up all of the events. Now, I'm going to leave this as a bit of an exercise to you guys to see if you guys can figure it out by yourselves. We're going to do this in the next video because this video is already like 30 minutes. But I will say this, if you just reference this implementation that GLFW has, you can see that what actually happens is if we look at some kind of key callback function, you can see what actually happens, right? So what we call this previous callback, which is that's a mouse button callback. Where's that key callback? Yeah, you can see that it sets IO stuff. So inside ImGui IO, we basically want to set certain variables. So when we press a key, it sets keys down with the relevant key to true, right? Or for modifiers, it sets directly whether or not they're pressed, right? For the mouse position, for example, there's a mouse button callback, which actually this gets done inside a loop, I believe. Yeah, so IO mouse down gets set inside the update mouse position and buttons. So if you refer to this ImGui impl GLFW file, you should be able to get everything set up really easily, right? So that's kind of an exercise for you guys to see if you can do, but otherwise next week, of course, I will show you guys how I do it. And we'll get ImGui fully kind of interactive and working, and we'll probably do things like mouse cases as well. Because there's quite a lot of stuff in this file that needs to be done, and I definitely don't want to rush it in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can hit the like button. Huge thank you as always to all the patrons that make this series possible. If you guys aren't supporting me on Patreon, then definitely check it out there. It really does help support the series. Also, you'll get to see the next video right now because it's already up. And also, all of this stuff, all this ImGui stuff, all the code has already been written in the development branch that you will get access to as well, because I've got like much more of Hazel actually written there. So if you're interested in kind of just leaving ahead and you don't want to wait, then check out patreon.com/Cherno. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. It's really exciting to see actual stuff on the screen now, even though this is a bit of a hack and we'll have to refactor a lot of it in the future. The actual layer stuff I think is mostly okay. It's the renderer is the really big thing that we'll need to work on once Hazel actually does have its own renderer. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.